Hey, good afternoon everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to make baked spaghetti. I don't know if you're like me, but there's some nights I get off of work late at night around 10 o'clock and my feet hurt, and the last thing I want to do is cook, and I walk around and look in the frozen stuff and I end up picking up something that I really don't even really want to eat. But that's all there is, and throw it in the oven or throw it in the microwave. So what's the solution? Well, make your own, okay? And I'm going to start with something simple today. I may do a series of these if it's popular. You guys let me know. Alright, so I'm going to do a simple spaghetti sauce and boil up some spaghetti. And I got some of these freezer containers. And I got 10 of them, and we'll see how far we get with it. So I got and of course you can vary this, with the seasonings. I've got Italian here, if you just got oregano and basil or whatever, and I do like to spice it up a bit with some hot pepper. So while the water is starting to boil, get the meat frying. Now I got 1.5 pounds of lean ground beef about. Yeah, make sure you don't throw the plastic in the bottom. I just like to break that up with a spatula so it cooks evenly. I throw everything in one bowl because what I'm going to do is after the meat's fried, I'm going to drain it and set it aside, and I'm going to fry up the vegetables in the beef grease. I got this neat little contraption here for garlic. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these, but it's just awesome. Just put the whole clove in there and just roll it. And all the paper comes right off, and you just get the clove and just have to cut the end off and it's ready to go. Yeah, just pull the seeds out. Just like that. Now, since this is spaghetti sauce, I want it fairly small pieces. So I'll do thin strips and then just chop it up like that. Okay. And in between vegetables, I go back to the pan, stir it up. Now what I do is I get a flat spatula like this and mash the pieces down, because for a spaghetti dish like this that's going to be going in the oven, you want the beef fully cooked and small pieces. You don't want big chunks for this. Water's just come to a boil, and one thing I didn't mention, the nice part about this dish is when you're doing advanced prep, especially to freeze, it really doesn't matter what order you do things in. So you can get a little more relaxed about it. Now, I'm going to put this in 1/2 pound at a time. Usually I would put it in whole, but because it's going in little containers like that, and you want it all to be nice and easy to put in, you should just break it in half first. Okay? Well, I guess I took a little too much, because these are a little stronger than they look. There you go. So I guess 1/4 pound at a time. Or somebody stronger than me. Woo, that's a little too. Do remember to pick up all the pieces that flew everywhere, because if they land on the stove under an element, you get a nasty burning smell after. Trust me, I know. So just give that a good stir. Now, about cooking times. Spaghetti is a very personal dish. Okay, some people like it, quote, al dente, just like the restaurant, and some people like it soft, like it comes out of a can. And what you have to remember is, since you're cooking this twice, you're going to be cooking it now to get it ready, and then after it's going to be reheating and baking in the oven. So you might want to undercook this a little unless you like it really, really cooked. Next, the onion. First layer off. And since this is for a sauce, I do want to fine dice on this. Yeah, just like that. And finally, the mushrooms, I gave them a quick rinse. I'm going to cut the ends off because there's a little bit of dirt on those, on some of them. I always get the largest mushrooms I can if I'm only buying a few, because it's just less chopping. Okay, so next, pop the stems out of the caps. The mushrooms you want fairly small, so I do the stems first, then quickly slice the caps. Yeah, it's good. So once all the veggies are sliced, it's time to check on the meat. Well, there's not that much grease in here, so I don't actually need a strainer. What I do is I just kind of push the meat out of the way like that, so you can see the grease coming down to the bottom of the pan. And while it's tilted, let's get a bowl. Tilt it again, and just repeat that until you get the meat out. It only takes 2 or 3 tries. So as you can see, there's only a couple of tablespoons of grease in the bottom because I did get the lean, which is nice. And now just put the veggies in there. Turn it up a bit, medium-high. Salt it. I always use the shaker if possible because you can't add too much. Then the hot pepper. It's just to taste. A little sprinkle is nice, not too much. About a handful or so like that. I'll put a little bit more. So about 2 tablespoons of Italian seasoning. Yeah, that's looking pretty cooked enough for me. Okay, so I'll set this to drain, turn that off. You can give that a quick rinse if you want, just to get some of the excess starch off. Once the vegetables are sauteed down to your satisfaction, throw the meat back in. Get your cans. So diced tomatoes, crushed tomatoes, tomato paste, mix all that up. Now put a lid on that and let that simmer on medium for I'd say about 20 minutes, half an hour, stirring it every 5 or 10 minutes. So let's see where we are here. Yeah. Yeah, most of the water's come out of the vegetables, and the sauce has started to thicken up a bit, which is what you want. You don't want this going into the containers watery. So turn the heat right off of that. Got the spaghetti. And put that in there. Now, if you don't have a Dutch oven like I do, you may need to do this in a big stock pot or something. So now, just start mixing the spaghetti up with the sauce. So once you've got your pan on the counter, and I always put it under a cutting board, I use tongs and a spatula to dish this up in case I have to even it out. Now you got to remember, it may expand a little bit after it's frozen, so you don't want to fill this up right to the top. Leave a little bit of head space on it. So they're all divvied up, and I got the kitchen scale out just to show you. They all came out to around 25 ounces, which is a little over a pound and a half, and around 700 grams. Okay, now the food cost on this, I did keep the bill for this, alright? The food cost on this was $10.92, plus the containers were $3.48 for 5 of them, and I made exactly 5. So the food cost including the container on this is $2.88. Okay, now if you are going to go hardcore on making your own frozen dinners and you go to a wholesale place, the cost of your containers drops dramatically. So I don't think you can get a dinner that's home cooked and it tastes home cooked and is quite good actually, because I've made this before, for less than $3 for a pound and a half of food. So you know what you're getting, and hey, you did it yourself and it tastes great and you're saving money. Okay, now what's important for this is to let this cool off completely before you cover them and put them in the freezer. That probably should take about a half an hour to an hour at room temperature. Then just put them in and freeze them. Oh, and if these containers are way too big for you to eat, yeah, you can get half-size ones, and then the cost gets even cheaper. Yeah, so it's been about a half hour, 40 minutes. These are cold now. And what you do is put the foil side down if you've never used one of these things before. You've probably done it backwards, opening them from the restaurant. Okay, so just push the flat parts in. Crimp it with your thumb. And I bet you there's at least one person enterprising out there thinking, hey, I could make these and sell them to my poor friends that don't know how to cook. Why not? Always date your food so you know that when you made it. Generally, if you want to avoid freezer burn, make sure that you use everything within 4 weeks. Okay, you can go a little longer, but the taste will decline. Okay. And one thing I didn't say before, the nice part about doing your own is I don't know if you've ever had price checkeritis, as I call it, where you bought some frozen food that may have sat at customer service for a few hours before somebody put it back in the freezer instead of throwing it out like they're supposed to, and you get a bad surprise the next morning. This will not happen when you make your own. Okay? Now also another reason to make only a few of these at a time is that if you do different recipes, well, hey, you can stock your freezer full of stuff and really save a lot of money in the process. So I have the oven heated up to 350 degrees. It's been in the freezer for about 3 hours now. Now, so I'm going to be cooking this completely from frozen. One trick, if you are planning to do this for after work, is take it out of the freezer and put it in the refrigerator before you go to work, because that'll cut down on the cooking time. Yeah, you can see there's a couple ice crystals formed on it, but it's not too bad. So I'm going to put it in without convection for about 20 minutes and take a look at it then, see how it's looking. Oh, I just took it out of the oven after 20 minutes. It's starting to smell pretty good. Doesn't look too bad. Now, you'll notice there are a couple of darkening strands at the top. So what I'm going to do, yeah, you can see that's getting hot. That's actually nearly ready. I'm just going to stir it up a bit with some tongs so it doesn't dry out. Oh, that smells pretty good too. Yeah, I'd say probably another 10 minutes max and I'll be ready to eat. It's been another 10 minutes at 350 and you can see from the steam rising off that that's just cooked nice and it's ready to eat right now. So there's my baked spaghetti from frozen to plate in half an hour, and a nice alternative to the stuff that you can find in the freezer aisle. So hope you try it and let me know if you want to see any more frozen entrees and I'll bring some more out. Thanks for watching, hope to see you again.